to be boring with explosions and crashes?
If you or the Lorax want to bust like we do, give us a call.
We're ready to defeat you. Ghostbusters, flow crushers, get the job done. Spitting out the lyrics like, we got one.
Woof, boy. That was a good one. It sure was good. Thank you.
Where did you find that video?
I give credit where credit's due. That's epic rap battles of freaking lame. I'm sorry, guys.
mean,
it's just come on, man.
I mean, that sums up the whole movie. Is like cringy, like Ghostbusters references, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a good, it's a good summary of the movie itself. So yeah, I didn't like it. That was boring.
Yeah, the movie was pretty bad. I don't really know much to say about it, honestly.
Yeah, I think a lot of people didn't like. Funny enough, I thought this movie like kind of came and went, right? Like I don't remember there being a lot of fanfare about it. At least you didn't hear a lot about it. You probably didn't hear about as much of it as you would the all-female Ghostbusters. Like at least that one was like so bad that it was cringy, and it had all that like drama and
yeah, all that stuff
that
attached
happened
to
around
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, this one was just like fucking. I don't know. It's just boring, honestly. And the jokes were pretty not funny. It's like watching Stranger Things again.
Mm-hmm.
It's just funny because they make references to Ghostbusters and Stranger Things. Yeah, for this movie, like people gave it like a 62% on Rotten Tomatoes. On IMDb it was like 7.3.
Mm-hmm.
And Metacritic gave it like a 45 out of 100. So I think everybody thought it was pretty mediocre.
Yeah.
It made like 195.2 million dollars worldwide. So 75 million to make. So it doubled its budget in box office sales.
Right.
So I mean, it was a movie. It's probably going to keep the franchise alive. I didn't see anything so great about it. It's probably just like, we're sorry. Here, try like, I don't know. Here, instead of like Ghostbusters with women, it's Ghostbusters with kids.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's basically what it was. Just Ghostbusters with kids. It was just Stranger Things.
Yeah.
It was just Stranger Things. It was just a big long episode where they fight ghosts. I mean, if it wasn't for the for them putting all the nostalgia bait in there, I wouldn't have even said it was a Ghostbusters movie, honestly.
I think that's probably why a lot of people have giving it like a positive score on Rotten Tomatoes, is because of all the nostalgia stuff and like maybe not shitting so much on the originals like the other one did, or at least made a joke of it. And they never said it was like problematic or anything like that.
What do you mean by problematic? What do you mean?
Like they didn't say like, oh, it's just a bunch of men like starting what is it called, ghost busting and being misogynistic and stuff. You know how they do, the lead up to a bunch of movies where they replace all the dudes with women.
Mm-hmm.
They'll like say something like that, or I'm pretty sure they said something about empowering and stuff like that, but they didn't like say anything super negative about it. But they did kill Bill Murray in the other ones. However, I don't know if he wanted to get killed himself. But yeah, I just I didn't feel like this one was any better than that one, honestly. You and I don't really have a connection to the old Ghostbusters movies.
Definitely not. We're definitely not fans of it.
I think I watched the original one when the all-female one came out, just to see what people were complaining about. Or like just to, it's like one of those movies that I haven't seen and that people praise so highly
Mm-hmm.
that I was like, okay, I might as well watch it. So like one of the classics, right? One of the classic like Animal House or any other like classic comedy movie. And I like watch it and I was like, this is not that great. It's like
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
the original one. I just like I, I don't know. I was like, where's the comedy in this? Like, it doesn't feel like a comedy to me. It feels like just watching some dudes hunt ghosts. Like I wasn't blown away by the movie at all.
Yeah.
Um, so like all the nostalgic things that they were doing inside this movie, it didn't
It didn't mesh
was
well.
like cringe.
Yeah.
No, it didn't mesh well, but it didn't hit with me. Like I don't know any like I know about that stuff because I watched the original movie, but I don't give a shit. Like I'm not
Yeah,
like
yeah.
some
I'm
weird.
here to watch a good movie. I don't care about like, oh, they showed the Ecto one, or oh, hey, they freaking oh no, they did the thing. There's a ghost trap. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what they would have to build on because none of the characters were like that fleshed out in the Ghostbusters movie. Like they felt like they were. I didn't feel like anybody had like a crazy backstory. They were just two dudes that like
Wanted to start a business.
um.
It's a movie about
Well,
starting a
not just that.
business.
Well, I thought they had like weird ideas about like how ghosts and stuff were real inside the university and people didn't like that.
Yeah.
So they were like, screw this, let's get out of here and make some money or something. Um, and so
Yeah, their loss is our gain. Like they didn't believe us about ghosts, but we can make some money.
yeah, and they weren't like fleshed out with like backstories or anything like that. They were just dudes that were they drop you into them like doing. And there was no like I don't know, there was no background given to them. Just were they left the university. You know enough. They left the university. They're smart dudes. They believe in ghosts and shit like that. And then the movie starts.
Yeah.
Um. So like so to me it seems like they don't really have anything to build on with that, which is, but they explore it more. But it's like that's not what the original movie was trying to do. I don't think. Um. So because the nostalgia stuff for me, it does work sometimes, but like
Like with Spoderman.
yeah, well, like with Spider-Man. But they had like backstories to that they were building on that were explored in the movies, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then they like finished certain storylines that were unfinished in the other movies too, and like arcs,
Mm-hmm.
character arcs, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they had a lot to work with.
Also, from some of the stuff from IMBD that I had to look up because, like I said, we're not really fans of that. We're not really fans of that series. We didn't watch it growing up. It's just
Yeah.
there was a lot of good shit out when we were younger, so we didn't have to watch that. You know, I mean, even though like I know a lot of people are gonna say, "Oh, Blasphemy, that was good too. You should have watched it," but nah, you know what I mean. Like I didn't watch Citizen Kane either, so there you go. Isn't that wait? I think I said that. I think that was one of the lines from another movie we watched, right? Where the guys are like, "I haven't watched Citizen." Oh, that was in Scream.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh,
can't believe
shit.
I freaking
Yeah.
said that. All right. Well, anyways,
Shout outs to our Scream review. Check that out if you haven't seen it already.
yeah, it's awesome. Oh man, really,
Best
really
movie
had
ever
to
made.
debate between which thumbnails to use, because you'll be hearing this in like maybe 2 weeks anyway. So, or maybe in a week. But the choice between that Japanese picture that we ultimately ended up using. I also had another picture where it was a drawing of Matthew Lillard, and the original Billy whatever from that movie, The Murderer, and they're just chilling, putting arms around each other, while I had to crop out the rest of the picture.
Just being bros.
Just being
and
bros,
hanging
hugging
out.
each other. You know what I mean? Matthew Lillard looks like his eye's gonna want to leave his body. It's a really, really goofy picture. I still have it, but I wish I could have used it, but we ultimately went with the one where we did because it was just a lot cooler.
Well, Matthew Lillard's eyes are having a disagreement on where to look, I think.
Yeah,
But,
exactly. Look up for our Matthew Lillard to be referenced again in another movie that we review. That maybe I'll review. But what did you say, Denny? Sorry, I interrupted the whole thing for like some nostalgia to ourselves.
My point is like, my point is with that whole thing that I was saying before about like using nostalgia is like, I feel like they didn't have a lot to work with building that, building those references and stuff in this movie. So it was just came down to like shit that you saw from the other movie. Um, yeah, just like, oh, there's the fucking car, there's the fucking there's shit. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, really, it's not that deep of a movie. There's nothing that that you need to reference with like heartfelt bullshit. Like, just make another one. Um, but I guess it's like what they were. I guess it's just trying to revitalize the series after that shitty all female one. That's basically my take on it. It's just a cash grab, I suppose.
No, it's a definite cash grab. They were just more smart about it with this one. Even though they did try to force a lot of stuff down your throat in this one too. You know what I mean? I want to say that this one doesn't have like ulterior motives, but it definitely does, and it's freaking annoying. Cuz it's like, "Oh my gosh, dude, you already tried this and it didn't work. I know you're being less subtle. I mean, you're being more subtle about it this time, but like, did you not learn your lesson? People just want a Ghostbusters. People who like Ghostbusters just want a Ghostbusters movie."
Yeah, they're sneaking in their little opinions and stuff like that here and there.
Yeah. Like we don't have any real opinions, people. We're fence sitters. Yeah, that's right. So no, me and Danny are hardcore liberals. So what our things are, but
I've never had a dissenting thought in my life.
yeah, exactly. No, everything is awesome. So,
Can't even
but
decide
even
what ice cream I want.
yeah, exactly. Somebody, I mean, I wish the government would just choose what ice cream we get to eat. So the but with that being said, even we have to say, dude, like chill out with the messages in the movies, please. It's very, very annoying.
It's kind of like someone like says something to you or like brings up an argument topic and then walks out of the room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
No,
what
I
it
definitely
feels
know
like.
what you mean.
Yeah, so
It's like somebody does a little stinger, like side comment, and then just like does not let you respond because they can't hear you.
Well, one thing that I'm glad, and I'll give it points to this movie, is not being obnoxious by like addressing the as we've seen in some other movies recently that we reviewed, not shitting on the audience's criticisms of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a really big annoyance to me. As I've said in the other reviews. So I'll give it points for that. For not doing that. That's a really low bar to fucking
Yeah, because it's
to
like
me.
every movie that we've watched has done that so far. We're like,
It's like-
I think aren't we on like a hat trick of movies telling you that your opinion is stupid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. So that's like what's the word? Endemic of most movies nowadays is like the meta commentary. Which I don't think this one had a lot of. Except for the there's really annoying opinions that they just kind of like.
Yeah,
slap
we'll tell
in.
you when it gets to the thing, because there's one that they just keep hounding over. You know what I mean? It could have just been a little bit of a side comment, but they just kept hounding and hounding and hounding.
Yeah, exactly. They really wouldn't let it go.
Yeah.
So I just I think this movie's like super forgettable. That's my opinion of it.
No, it's very
Not-
forgettable.
Not required what is it called?
Viewing.
Watching.
Yeah,
Yeah.
funny
What-
enough, if you're a fan of the Ghostbusters, probably just watch the old ones. I mean, you know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
never gonna make
What'd you think
another
of-
good one, man. Sorry, I gotta be the one to break this to you, but sorry, they're never gonna make a good one. Never ever.
It's probably just what is it called? It had its time. Maybe they just need to do another, or maybe just need to do another one, or maybe do like I don't know, um, like cyber Ghostbusters or something like that.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters in the cyber
I feel
world or
I feel
something.
like Ghostbusters would make a good show. I feel like they can make a good Ghostbusters show.
Oh,
Will
yeah,
they do
like
that? Well, who knows?
they have an animated show, didn't they?
Yeah. But
So they had
Ghostbusters lends itself well to having a serialized show, you know?
um, I mean, with all the other like memorabilia and stuff that they did, I assume that they would have had tried that at least once or twice.
Yeah.
It's saying here that like the only thing there was like a 19 there was the 1986 what is it called? No, there was they did try to make a TV show in 1986, a live action comedy series. Um, let's see. I don't think it lasted very long though. Oh, I'm sorry. This must have been I think there was a Ghostbusters TV show, but it wasn't the actual Ghostbusters. It was like something of the same name or something like that. That they had like a
they
lawsuit
had
over or
animated
something.
shows. I remember that.
Yeah, the animated ones. Yeah, I think that one was fairly popular.
It was they had like
But yeah, there's an
it was real Ghostbusters, and then there was extreme Ghostbusters, where it had like a goth chick, a Hispanic guy, black guy. There was a guy in a wheelchair. The goth chick that was in there. There's a bunch of Zone Tan videos.
Oh God.
So
That's
yeah,
dying. I'm sorry. The animated one is like the real Ghostbusters, I think.
Yeah,
And, like
that's
the opposing one has like it looks like a robot gorilla in it.
oh, you're talking
So
about oh, you're talking about Ghostbusters the the one from like the 1930s or whatever, where it has like a gorilla and two like old drunks.
yeah, it's 1986. It's
Is it really?
1986, so it came out around. Yeah, they just tried to. I think they tried to scoop up the property name or something like that. So
Wow, I could have sworn that that was based on that was based on an old 1930s show.
no, yeah, it's yeah, it's pretty bad. Is the yeah, it's got a gorilla with like a suit, not a suit, like a adventurer's hat, and yeah, two drunks. But they also got like little guns in like some of the posters and stuff like that.
Jeez, okay, they're like secret agents of some kind. Well, anyways, back to the review. The
Yeah.
what? What
What
were
did you
they?
think of the actors? What did you think of the actors? In the
I thought
movie?
everybody did a good job. The little girl, the little main girl, she's can use a little bit of time, but she's okay.
Yeah, I thought everybody did fine.
Yeah, she's
I mean,
she's you know she's probably not been acting too long. She's like 13 probably or 14. She's not gonna be the best. So, but she could probably be really good with time. I just hope they don't give her more roles like this, because very strange role to give her, because I feel like the role was probably written for like a little autistic boy. But they changed it to a girl, so she's just kind of acting like a little autistic boy, because you know there's differences. So
yeah, of course.
yeah,
Yeah, and then like she kind of looked like a boy too. Like they dressed her up. They like cut her hair
yeah.
short.
Well, they were trying to make her look nerdy and like tomboyish or whatever, but I mean, she
Her
was
pants
the,
up to
the
her,
character. Yeah, the character was clearly like, yeah.
I mean, it's
I mean, if you read too much into it, but like, because I've never met a kid that acts like that. That's not.
yeah. I just yeah. I guess maybe that's how they wanted her to act. So what are you gonna do? They do their best with what they have, I suppose.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. CGI looked kind of
Stanky,
weird.
especially in one scene in particular where they're driving, and it looked really really bad. Like you could clearly
Yeah.
tell it was CGI.
It's CGIception, right? Because they're using CGI to recreate um, practical effects,
Yeah,
and people are always saying that practical effects look better than CGI, but they were creating the practical effects with the CGI, and it looks like shit.
yeah, exactly.
so, so that's what's funny. Um, I guess I could. I mean, I don't assume that they were trying to do that, but I guess it could have been a meta joke that like it looks worse because they tried to recreate this the practical
Yeah,
with the
exactly.
CGI, and it's all like, this is what you wanted. But no, I doubt they were trying to do that.
Not with this one, no. I don't think so. I don't think they were trying to get at the fans with this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was like maybe they were trying too hard to like please people. Um, yeah, it's like I guess it's in some parts mostly not that bad.
They were trying to do what they were doing with 16. They just freaking they just learned their lesson from that and didn't throw it in your face and didn't fight the fans on it. You know what I mean? Because I feel like that made
True.
it worse. Paul Feig and his stupid antics made it worse and worse and worse, and they just kept pushing it. And the media got in and they made it worse and worse when it could have just been a shitty movie that did bad in the box office and nobody would have even cared.
Maybe they knew that they had a stinker and they had to like do something to get people to watch it, even if it's hate watching.
Yeah, that's what they thought. They should have never went after James Rolfe, you know what I mean? That was like their
Yeah.
big one.
Nostalgia critic?
Yeah, no, the AVGN.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they went
Sorry,
after him. They
yeah,
said that he was
AVGN,
like a
my bad,
dumb
sorry.
virgin, like that wasn't gonna go see it, and he's a stupid dork and stuff. And I'm like, Jesus.
Really?
Yeah.
Why would they do that? That's so weird. Um, that seems like what did he say, that they were stupid poopy heads or something, or
No, he just said he wasn't gonna go see it, and that nobody should go see it. If they don't want to see it, don't go see it. Which is like like that's probably why they went after him, because that's like the worst thing they want people to say. You know?
yeah. Probably want people to say like, this movie sucks so terrible. You all got to see
How shitty
how
it is.
bad it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's got to see it. It's so bad. That's like marketing. That's like marketing 101 or
Yeah, I wouldn't be
whatever,
surprised if they
like
just
with the
put
room or
bots
whatever.
in comments and stuff now that say how shitty it is. Everyone go see it.
You got to see this scene, and this scene is so terrible. It's definitely worth the price of admission just to see how terrible it is.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? I don't know if that movie made any money or anything like that. See, that's how like fucking nothing this other movie is. We're like talking about the 2016
Yeah,
one more
yeah,
than.
I know. I know. All right.
All right,
We should probably get into it now, though.
let's get into
Shit,
it.
where are
All
my
right,
notes? No, I'm getting killed.
what is it called? That's not to say that our review isn't gonna be that great. So
No, our review's gonna be great. No, our
It's
review's
gonna
gonna
be
be great. It's gonna be awesome.
All right.
Let me get to my notes here. Don't
And
worry.
we'll see you after the spoiler skip.
Yeah, see you guys in the. See you guys past the spoilers there. Bye bye. Good. Now that the losers are gone, let's talk about this movie.
Big whiny baby. So yeah. So the movie opens up with a dude running through like a cornfield.
Mm-hmm.
And his like face is shrouded. I assume to save money on CGI.
Yeah,
And,
definitely. They just gave a guy a dumb wig.
Like a crappy like what's it called, chopped up like wig where only the top is sticking out.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why. I don't know why I keep thinking he's the dude from actor from The Secret Window. You know the actor, the tall dude
Secret
with the
Window?
black hair? Yeah, Secret Window, the guy who Johnny Depp like hallucinates.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Keep thinking it's that guy, but it's not. Bernie Feig or something like that. I think that was the movie that he was in that he looks a lot like that dude. But yeah, the dude's running through the cornfield and like in his hand he shows that he's got the capture device from the other Ghostbusters movies. And he's like running towards a like a dilapidated house. and he gets to the porch of the dilapidated house, stands there, and there's something chasing him. There's like these like footprints uh, that are being placed by like an invisible foot chasing him to the house. And he like stands at the porch, and the shadow is like covering his face some more. Um, and he tries setting up like this big like trap for whatever's chasing him. And so like whatever his trap outside of his house doesn't work. There's like a bunch of like lights and things like that lighting up as the invisible like giant thing is walking towards him. And so he runs inside of his house. Oh, we wrote down that like Ghostbusters is dark and gritty in this because everything is dark and gritty.
Yeah, everything's
Um,
like real low, not really colorful. It wasn't super colorful in the original either, but I don't know, it just felt like a little bit different. The tone was different.
Yeah, it's like the other one was more bright, right? It wasn't
Mhm.
like, I don't think there was any moments when you felt like suspenseful in the first one. So the dude goes into his so the dude sees that his plan is not working, and so he runs into his house. And like I think he sits on his couch, right? And just kind of waits to die. Um his like ghost detector machine is messing up, and obviously by now we can see that this dude is Egon from the original movies. And then uh and so like the ghost thing that's chasing him is kills him because it comes in through the chimney, because I guess it doesn't want to come in through the front door for some reason. I guess
Yeah.
ghosts can't like break through wood. So it comes in through the chimney, like fills the whole room with smoke, and that's how Egon dies. Um, what's it called? And so we cut to like now, like present times, and we see the kid from Stranger Things, Finn Wolfhard, his sister, who's also in Stranger Things. I think she's L or Q or whatever the hell her name is.
Oh, the little girl
Or I
was that girl?
think it was, wasn't it?
No, no, that was like a little girl. I don't think that was her.
Okay, never mind. So we see
It was it was what's her name? McKenna. Oh, what was the little girl's name? Phoebe?
her name is Phoebe.
Okay,
in
so
the
it was
movie.
McKenna Grace. McKenna Grace is she was born in 2006.
Oh, okay, so she's too young. I'm sorry, I thought I got her mixed up with someone else because they all kind of look the same. Or at least
2006. 14. She's 14.
okay,
She's 14, but she's supposed to be playing like a what? Like a 12-year-old, something like that?
I believe so. Yeah, she's kind of short still, so you know.
Yeah, she
she
looked
can
like a
pull it off.
little kid. Like I'm like good luck getting a boyfriend. You know what I mean?
In the future.
Yeah, in
like,
the future, because
way.
she I'm surprised she's 14, because to me she looked like she was like 10 or 11. You know?
I assume that's why they probably got her for the role because she looks so young. I mean,
Yeah.
fucking Finn Wolfhard or whatever. That motherfucker like is like super gangly and old. Like he was. I'm pretty sure like he grew like within 2 years he like shot up to like 6'1". I was like used to seeing him as like a little kid. Uh, some of the other things that I've seen him in, and now he's like all awkward looking and frail. Um, so I mean, he's playing a teenager in this one, obviously an angsty one. So yeah, it cuts to them in their house, and they're like screwing around. Phoebe, the little girl played by McKenna Grace, or Grace McKenna, she's like fucking around with the in their shitty apartment. Like their apartment is like kind of dirty and grayish. Like the walls are grayish and stuff. I forget what Finn Wolfhard is doing. I think he's like talking on the phone or something like that. And she's fucking around with like the electricity, the breaker box or something like that, trying to fix the lights or something inside the house. And the mom is like, I don't know, watching TV or something. And so they get a knock on the door, and it's the landlord, who may or may not be um of Armenian descent coming in to
He was something.
evict the family. I assume it was because he mentions. I think that accent comes from that of the world, and so the landlord comes in to evict them, which is kind of mess. I assume that they like try to make him seem like a slumlord because the electricity's not working and the little girl's trying to fix it, or Phoebe's trying to fix it.
Yeah, she's trying to like, I don't know. I've never seen a little girl do electrician stuff, but whatever. For the movie,
it
it
kind
was
of like
yeah.
also it kind of shows how like when I think about it, because later on like you find out everybody's a fucking asshole in this movie. But like, why would you let your kid mess around with the breakers of the house? She could kill herself. But anyway, so the landlord, he like says, "I need rent." That's from Spider-Man 3. And
Yeah,
so,
he's like, and then she's all like, "I'll pay the rent when you fix this damn door."
she shoots.
Yeah.
And so he evicts the family or whatever, and so they're like, I don't know how they figured out this, but they end up moving to a little town called Somerville, where Egan used to live, and we find out that Egan is the grandfather of their mom.
No, he's the father of their mom. It's their grandfather.
He's the grandfather. He's the grandfather of the kids, but the father of their mom. So, what is it called? So, as we said before, McKenna Grace, she looks like a little boy. She's got her pants up to her like chin, and has these big nerd glasses, curly hair. And Finn Wolfhard looks like Finn Wolfhard.
Yeah, they didn't even try to like make him try to have any character or anything. He's just like a dork.
Yeah, it's like a scene where they're like driving towards Somerville, and like Finn Wolfhard is they end up getting to their house, and it's the house from the beginning where it's in a cornfield and it's all dilapidated and shit, and there's like nothing growing in the cornfield, except for like weeds and stuff like that. I assume it's a cornfield because there's like stalks and stuff like that kind of look like it.
Mm-hmm.
So like Finn Wolfhard is like bitching about like how shitty the house is, and then Tony, you were like getting mad at him because it's like,
yeah, I was getting angry because it's like you guys just got evicted from your old house. Go live on a park bench then. You literally got a house for free. I wish somebody gave me a freaking house, even if it was kind of crappy like that. You know what I mean?
Kind of shitty. You could just build another one, really. I mean, it's probably
you could just rebuild it, really, because they got the land and everything. So it's just like, just rebuild it. Who cares? You know what I mean?
Maybe rent out an Airbnb or something, makes it a little extra money on the side.
Yeah, well, it's just a godsend, pretty much. Well, it seemed like the mom wanted to sell it anyway, but go ahead with the story, because, yeah.
Yeah. So they like they go up to the house, and he's like bitching about it. He's an angsty teen. Everything sucks. Everything is problematic, and you have to point it out.
Yeah.
And so what is it called? So Phoebe, she they can't get into the house. So Phoebe picks the lock, and we mentioned that because she has like a lot of talents that are kind of not specific to any one thing, and we'll bring that up again later. So they get into the house, and it's like a crappy like shut-ins house where there's books everywhere. It's all dusty.
Yeah, if you ever had to clean up after a hoarder or whatever, like, you know what it looks like.
Yeah, exactly. There's like,
I mean, there's probably not a lot of people out there that have done that before, but I've done that before, and it's weird.
I mean, if you see the TV show Hoarders, then you know what's
yeah.
going on.
Oh yeah.
Or
That's
you
a better
can-
example. I don't know why you would have to actually be there.
Or if you want, you can come to my house and I'll show you. When they get in there, there's like a bunch of numbers that are on the ceiling, like molding and shit. And then they're like, "Oh God, this guy, our grandpa was a fucking weirdo." And then while they're like kind of looking through the house, an earthquake happens. And that's where the first mention of fracking comes in, right, Tony?
Yeah, she says that it's probably fracking that's doing the that's causing the earthquakes, which I it's neither here nor there if that's true.
Yeah, so it's like what is it called? There's total scientific evidence that proves that it exists. Nothing that proves the opposite or says that it's totally safe, anything like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And so
Just like
what is it
just
called?
like the burning rivers or whatever. That was totally real.
Yeah, so then like so then they move on. It's not a really big part of the movie, but you know, as we mentioned before in the beginning. So like as they're going through it, the earthquake passes. They get a visit from the first cameo of the movie, which is the secretary from the second movie or the first movie. Um, she's pretty much the same as you see. She's like she's an old lady now. So you're supposed to like recognize her and like be like, oh, that was from the other ones.
You're supposed to clap when you see her.
Yeah, exactly. And she like talks to them about their inheritance from Egon. They inherited the house, and that's pretty much it. Egon didn't have a fortune or anything like that, so there's no money for them to even get. And so like and so the mom is like saying like, oh God, of course. Like she's like more angry that her inheritance didn't get passed on than her dad dying. And so so they go to like so they get the bad news and they're like shit. And so it cuts to like nighttime and the family goes out to go get dinner, which they go to like a fast food restaurant where they're like they still have like girls on roller skates and stuff. I assume that's another nostalgic thing.
It is. I mean, Sonic's tried to keep it going for a little while, but you can't do it. I've seen like there's Sonics where I live, and they're still trying to do it, and I've seen a lot of chicks eat shit. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, like, what do you like? I don't. I mean, I like roller skating and stuff like that. Still can't stop, but I can't imagine like having to like get annoying people's orders and shit like that, or like having a
Carry
kid
food
yell
while
at
you're
you.
doing it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, or some like big, like, what is it called? Some big dumbass like fuck with you.
Yeah.
A big Tanya, L.A. Tanya, and so what is it called? And so they go there and Finn Wolfhard like I forget how he notices her. I think he goes in to order something, and he notices a girl like working at the restaurant. She looks like what's her name? Name's Sanjaya. That
Sanjaya.
girl
Yeah.
that's in every,
This
the girl that's
this
in every
actress's
movie.
name is
Zendaya, that's her
Sarah O'Connor, I think is her name, something like that.
Sarah O'Connor. Yeah, she reminds me of Zendaya from basically every movie that's done nowadays. The new Rae Dong Chung. And so she what is it called? She, one thing we noticed is that the restaurant that they're at is called Spinners.
Oh yeah,
Might
yeah.
be a-
You told me this. I didn't know this before.
So I assume it's referencing the wheels on their roller skates, but like a spinner is like a skinny chick that you have sex with. So like I don't know if that was like
Which I know if that I'm thinking is the thing that happens later on makes me think that that was intentional.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah. So remember that. So and so like Finn Wolfhard asks the girl as like a cheap attempt to like try to get the conversation going if they have any job openings, and so like and then like a group of other workers like sees him doing this and they all like jump on him and they make fun of him for not having any game and like being a corny
Person.
what is it called, a corny person of no particular thing, and so what's it called, we called the background heroes I mean the background characters the heroes of the movie,
Yeah, because
because
this family, Egon Spangler's family or whatever, are just a bunch of rude asses
yeah, they really are.
that they always have to do some kind of freaking comeback to everyone. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing, I don't know if they were supposed to like I mean they don't get any better by the end of the movie, right?
I don't
Like,
think
there's
so.
no like there's no like personality change because they don't show them interacting with anybody else. But like through the majority of the movie, they're just like really um abrasive people. So I don't know if they were. It's that trope of where the asshole is the hero all the time. Especially in this one, like they're just like unlikable douchebags, or if it's supposed to show that they're dysfunctional. Um, but there's no growth shown, so we'll never know. Um, so so after that, after Finn Wolfhard gets BTFO'd at the thing for not being able to get laid, it cuts to the family going to their new school. It's daytime now. It's the next day, and so I think like Finn Wolfhard is like traumatized from like what happened to him last night, and so he's like trying to get like Phoebe to like tell like jokes, like tell like cringy jokes or something like that, or like jokes that he thinks are cool.
Wait. We skipped the best part of the movie where the grandma was like, where the grandma was like, "Oh, you're the what's your town?" He's like, "Oh, my thing died. I have to go to." It's like, "Oh, the dirt farmer." It's like, "Oh," she's like,
Oh, this was she works at the restaurant, right?
I think so.
Yeah, so there's
She's like
an
the
old
dirt
lady that
farmer, and
comes
she's
up-
like, "Oh, everybody just call like doesn't call him the dirt farmer or whatever," but she's just like, "Oh yeah, no, it was a crap," and she's like, "Oh okay, well yeah," and she's like, "Everybody remembers him." And then she's like, "Oh yeah, nobody will miss him or something." And the grandma's like, "Nope, nobody will miss that motherfucker." And she walks away, and I was like, "Good."
Well, I think that what is it called? She was like an old lady that was talking to the mom, right? So the
Yeah.
mom's like always down on Egon's character for like neglecting her, and I think he abandoned her at some point, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so she was like, nope, yep, nobody liked that guy. He's a real piece of shit. Good riddance. Rest in piss.
Yeah,
Um,
but it was kind of funny
so
because it felt like it was passive aggressive to her comments on like her being sarcastic to her. You know what I mean? So it was kind of funny.
yeah, I don't know because they don't know how to. I don't know. I don't know if they know how to write like subtle that sarcasm like that. Um, so after that, this is where they're headed towards the house now, right? Right after that scene.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, the school. So yeah, so Finn Wolfhard's trying to get his little sister to tell jokes and stuff like that, and all the jokes are cringe, and he's like, all right, well, this is failing. I can't let you do this or whatever. And then he asks like the mom to like leave him at like 2 blocks away from the house, and he runs towards the school. Um, Finn Wolfhard has debilitating like debilitating self-esteem issues, and it might be from like their the dad abandoning them.
Yeah, because they did.
The dad,
Yeah.
the dad's not around, and so like Finn Wolfhard is like constantly like fearing rejection and stuff like that. So when he should realize that cringe jokes will get you friends. It's the only way. It probably would have gotten him laid earlier.
Yeah,
So,
girls love jokes.
yeah, especially cringe ones.
Little tip out there for you guys. Because even if she rolls her eyes or whatever, if you do like a cringe joke or something funny or whatever, she'll like giggle a little bit. Then you're in.
Yeah, and also be handsome. So what is it called? And above 6 feet. The what is it called? So they get to the school, and we're introduced to Paul Rudd's character, who is a teacher at the school. And Paul Rudd's character is a giant piece of shit. I hate him. He is a shitty public school teacher that like shows movies in his classroom instead of teaching the kids. Really putting your tax dollars to good work. I think like as they're walking into the school, Phoebe is talking to the mom and like says something about like schools being like mills for like making good workers and stuff. Tony, you remember that, right?
Yeah, she's like it just it's a labor camp for delinquents is what she said, which is true. Which is true.
Yeah.
They're also indoctrination camps, but yeah.
I assume that she was gonna say public schools, right? Or like at least state. Oh, anyway. So
I don't know.
Paul
It was some
Rudd
kind
is
of
the-
weird. It was strange.
Paul Rudd is like a slacker teacher, and he's the reason for that. So he shows like I think like the mom talks to Paul Rudd for a second, and he walks into the school, and she's shocked that he's a teacher there. And so Phoebe's he's Phoebe's teacher too. So while they show Phoebe in the class, and Paul Rudd's first thing that he does is like put on Cujo for the kids to watch, which is the trope of
Oh,
nowadays
sorry.
is showing.
You went into your Paul Rudd hate so fast that I didn't get to say that I wrote down a Wet Hot American Summer is here.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good movie. I like that one. What was his character in that movie? It was like a fucking forget what it was. I think he fell asleep a lot. So then like he shows Cujo, which like of course it's another movie references the movie. That's all that like the Stranger Things guys do. And so while the movie's playing and like Paul Rudd fucks off to go do something, an Asian kid starts talking to Phoebe, and so and that's important. So remember that.
He's trying to interview her.
Yeah, he's trying to interview her for his and recording her with like a directional mic, and so he tells her that they call him Podcast, and she's like, "Why do they call you Podcast?" And then like, if it was me, I'd like look at the microphone and like my recording thing, and I was like, "Are you serious?" So like, so then they get introduced, and like a Podcast is a little weird, because he's like super optimistic and stuff like that. Basically, the only person that can put up with Phoebe, because Phoebe is like super negative all the time and super rude and like super blunt in a bad way. So it cuts to the mom in a hardware store talking to the owner, and she's like grabbing a bunch of crap to renovate the house. And so the shop owner is like talking to her about her dad, and saying like, he never really tried to grow anything on that farm. It was just like he was just like letting it die. Like the only thing that
Yeah, he was
grows
just
there is a
moving
bunch of
dirt
weeds.
around.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why they called him the dirt farmer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because he would just move the dirt around, and it's like, are you farming dirt? Which is, yeah.
Yeah, and he never came in to buy like gardening stuff. He would just come in to buy weird shit, like a bunch of random like items that wouldn't liken itself to being a farm worker. So like we cut back to Phoebe's class, and then another earthquake happens. Another earthquake happens at. No, I'm sorry. I think a day passes, and then it's the next day, and so they're back in Paul Rudd's class, and I think he puts on another movie.
Yeah, he's putting on what's it called? Child's Play.
Child's Play, yeah. No, I think that plays at the end of the movie. Oh, anyway, so it's a well-known movie that he's playing, which is another reference. So Phoebe like is talking to Podcast, or like they sit next to each other, and then she like wanders into Paul Rudd's office, and she notices like a bunch of graphs and like I forget what the word topology, I believe it's called topology, diagrams, and stuff.
Topography,
yeah,
something
I
like
think
that.
it's topography diagrams. When she's coming in, and she like she points out some of the devices that he uses, and says, "Oh yeah, you're a seismologist." And so and he's all like, yeah, I'm a seismologist or whatever. And I assume that Paul Rudd's what is it called? Studies into seismology is so important that he can't teach his fucking class of like kids that like need to know like
struggling kids, because he goes in and he's like, these kids are stupid. I'm like, yeah, I wonder why.
But yeah, he says that to the mom when he walks in, right?
Yeah. No, that guy's the perfect teacher. Like, he should apply for LA Unified right now.
Paul Rudd is a giant piece of shit.
Yeah.
In this movie, and I hate his guts.
No, he's just a normal teacher. There's no reason to hate him.
No, that's a reason to hate him, because he's a normal teacher.
Yeah.
Shout outs to all the good teachers that I had in school. Like you motherfuckers tried, and thank you.
Yeah, try.
But
If you really wanna, hey, good teachers out there, you really wanna help yourselves? How about you go for pay based on fucking you know.
let's not get into that.
Anyways,
Okay,
yeah.
what is it called?
No, all
So
all
moving
teachers should
on-
be paid billions of dollars. Go ahead, Denny.
Okay, so moving on to what is it called? So moving on to back to the
Plot of the movie.
Office. Yeah, the plot of the movie. Like Paul Rudd says some like It's another problem with this movie is that they'll say basic shit. Like Paul Rudd explains like basic fucking earth science about like how earthquakes happen to Phoebe. Like he says something about like P waves and like
And D waves.
well, I mean like basic like shit that you would hear in like a middle school earth science class. Tectonic plates shifting and stuff like that. And they act like this is like some kind of like awesome like scientific jargon that you wouldn't hear like if you had paid attention in earth science class for like a couple of seconds, or you like wrote down looked inside of a book and read what the answer was to the question in there, and then wrote it and like just copied it down onto your what is it called? Copied it down onto your homework. And so like Phoebe makes like a geometry joke, and he's all like, "Oh wow, that's a geometry joke," and it's like a basic geometry like formula or something like that, and he automatically says that Phoebe's a genius because she knows basic geometry.
Yeah, she's a genius and she's perfect. Also, he wants to hang out with her and teach her because she likes the stupid shit that he's into, instead of helping the kids out.
Yeah, exactly. And they're perfectly normal kids. I mean, it's not even like
Yeah, they're not throwing
it's not even
spitballs
like
or
that.
anything. They're all just paying attention.
Exactly. And he's doing them a service by playing by showing them horror movies in the classroom. Yeah, what is it called? I hate fucking Paul Rudd. Anyway, so after the class happens, Phoebe and Podcast, they go to a place that's like cut off. I think they're doing an episode of Podcast's podcast. And so you go to some ruins and or they go to like a sectioned off part with like gates and stuff like that, and they walk past it because like no one's watching it. And it does lead to like these like kind of, I don't even know if they're like Egyptian or they're like wall carvings, giant ones. And so like while they're doing this, they're like, wow, look at all this stuff. Like who knows why this is sectioned off. While they're doing that, Finn Wolfhard finds in the garage of the house, he finds the Ghostbusters car. I think it's called the Ecto 1, and he starts fixing it up. So Finn Wolfhard, they never said that he had any training. I guess he's like a 16-year-old prodigy and like being a mechanic, because they didn't show him having any training in fixing cars or anything.
They
like
didn't
that.
have any. He didn't have any interest in having a car. He didn't say, "Oh wow, this is a, whatever fucking Cadillac, fucking medical car that they used to use." Like he didn't say anything. He's like, "Oh hey, there's a." They could have established that he was able to fix cars, very simply by saying, like him reading a car magazine. You know what I mean? Just reading like cars and what's that fucking magazine? Auto Mechanic, whatever magazine, car magazine. You know what I mean? You could have had him reading that in the car. You could have had him do anything else to establish that he had it, but they just were too lazy to do it. There's like, he's just good at cars.
True. Or like it's not. It's just kind of weird. Maybe they could have had a throwaway line where it's like, "Oh yeah, Dad used to be a mechanic" or something like that.
Yeah,
That would make more sense. And so before the divorce, there you go. So
there you go.
cut
We
back
wrote your
to-
movie for you, stupid asses.
Yeah. Well, it's like little things here and there. So like Podcast, they cut back to Phoebe and Podcast leaving the ruins, and then so Podcast gives Phoebe a My Little Pony USB. with all of his episodes on there.
Yeah, which when he gave her the cuz he wouldn't say what his podcast was about. He wouldn't really say what his podcast was about, and when he gave her the My Little Pony USB, I was like, "Oh, he has like an alt-right podcast."
Yeah. Yeah. He's doing the conspiracy theories and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. So I had a My Little Pony USB.
Yeah, he's giving his what is it called? His red pill take on various
Yeah.
subjects.
Yeah, Catboy Futurism or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So then he also asks her to be his lab partner, which he means in quotations, which he means autistic girlfriend.
Yeah.
So then it cuts to after that it cuts to Phoebe in the house, and she's kind of chilling, and she's looking at like a chess set, and she moves like a chess piece on it, and then the chess piece itself like moves a little bit, then she moves another chess piece, and then the chess piece just like floats off the board and like it's put down. I don't know if it's like checkmate or something like that. I wasn't paying that much attention to that part. And so while she's doing that, she found the scouter. I mean
The Scouter.
the
She's like, "It's
yeah,
over 9,000."
we're gonna be making a lot of Dragon Ball Z references in this. Yeah, she finds like the Ghost Finder like machine earlier. It like fell underneath the couch when Egon died. And so she finds it like earlier on in the movie, and so it starts like going off when the chess piece moves, and so she like grabs the locator thing, and starts walking around, and it leads her to what is it called? It leads her to an underground. No, I'm sorry. Before that, it leads her to like some floorboards on the ground, and it's like the Five Nights at Freddy's puzzle where you like press the tiles, and it like opens up. And so she finds the ghost capture device underneath the floorboards. So the thing that the ghosts go into when they like start shooting the plasma rays or whatever the hell they're called. And so she goes back, so that after that, it cuts back to them back in class. And so they're watching another movie. This one is the one where Chucky is being played.
Ah, gotcha.
And so, what is it called? So Phoebe is showing podcast, the ghost capture device, and then like Paul Rudd decides to walk into the room. Maybe he's got to go to the bathroom or something like that. I'm sure there's like a kid like what is it called, like vegging out or something like that, like like wondering about what his future is going to be as like an astronaut, not knowing anything about anything. And so like he wanders in and sees the ghost capture device, and like a bug man like runs over to it and like says, "Hey, that's the thing that I saw in like the 80s."
Yeah, I clapped when I saw it.
I clapped when I saw it. Yeah, there's like a clap moment when Phoebe finds it in the first place, and he's like, yeah, there was like all these ghosts and shit like flying around. It was like an episode of The Walking Dead, and so
And then I was like,
and so, like-
actually, Walking Dead has zombies. Fucking dumbass. All right, so
yeah, I wish somebody said that to him. Any abuse at Paul Rudd would be good. So then like Phoebe's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And so like on YouTube, they show a clip of the first movie where the original Ghostbusters are like saving the town from the climactic scene at the end where all the ghosts are flying around and stuff. And Tony, you pointed out that all these like shitty sequels, they always show like unedited clips from the first movie, right?
yeah. Like, it's not in the background or anything. Like, they're literally watching the scenes. Like, The Matrix did it, and Scream did it.
Yeah, they it's like the same formula that they're all following, right?
Yeah. It's like somebody on TV
which-
is, like, watching the scenes from the first movie. It's... Why? I don't know why they're doing that. I don't know why that's the hip thing to do in Hollywood now. Just put scenes from your first movie in there.
Well, Hollywood has well, yeah, they all copy each other. So once one thing hits and is like original, just have to like beat a dead horse until it's just annoying. I mean, right now I think we're in the meta phase where they're pointing it out. But eventually they're gonna change, and then it's all gonna be that. Um, so um, so then they so after they show the clips from that movie on YouTube,
Oh
Paul
yeah,
Rudd is
and
like,
they're on
"Oh, so
YouTube showing it, which is weird.
yeah, I know." So then Paul Rudd like says like, where did you get this?" Like, she's like, "I got it from my house," and he's like, "I want to go to your house," and there's no red flags there. Grown man wanted to go to like one of their. I mean, he's a teacher and
Especially
all,
if
but
they're a
still, it's still
teacher.
weird.
Especially if they're a teacher. People out there.
Yeah, and so they go to Phoebe's house, and Paul Rudd meets Phoebe's mom, and he walks into the house, and he's automatically taken by like all the Ghostbuster shit that he sees around the house, um, and I think he automatically wants to bang Phoebe's mom because she's the daughter of Egon, and he's like, a fanboy. Um, and so I think we cut to. I'm sorry. Before that happens, Paul Rudd and Phoebe and Podcast go into the school parking lot where all the buses are, and they like open up. They're gonna open up the capture device, and then Paul Rudd says some dumb shit about like how science is like
Oh yeah,
how
yuck.
science is
That was
absolute.
gross.
Science is absolute, and science is like what is it called? Science is dangerous, and science is
Like punk rock, which is disgusting.
punk rock. But it's also he also says science is not does not have caution in it, which is like completely wrong. It's like if you're gonna do something fucking dangerous, it would make sense that you would be logical about it and not do that. That's why they have like the mad scientist trope, because that dude is fucking stupid.
Yeah, he's a fucking
Um,
crazy person. That's why he's a mad scientist instead of a.
yeah, exactly. And with people always bitching about like the atom bomb being made and science being out of control, and that's like an example of it. It's kind of stupid to say that in this movie as a good thing. Um, depending on who you ask. Um, so shout outs to Japan. So then what is it called? So then like as they're saying that, I don't know if that was like a meta joke or some not a meta joke. I'm sorry. I don't know if that's like a foreshadowing joke, because they fucking release the ghost that was trapped in the fucking capture device out, and the ghost goes directly into the ruins that Phoebe and Podcast were just at, to start the process of fucking everything up. Um, so so that's when Pod.
Yeah, go ahead.
So that's when Podcast and Podcast, Paul Rudd and Phoebe go to their house, and then Paul Rudd wants to bang Phoebe's mom. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so then like Phoebe and Podcast are looking at a book, and they see the name Gozer in it, and so that's when and then they pause for a little bit so everybody can clap, and Phoebe says, I made a note of like Phoebe saying that she doesn't I think another earthquake happens, and then like Podcast is like, "Are you alright? Like you're not like emoting or anything." She's like, "I don't express emotions like everybody else. I feel them, but I don't show them on my face." Which I guess is another example of her being on the spectrum. Um, and so like after that, cut to
Oh wait, did we talk about the
Finn
death
Wolfhard.
whistle did we
we
talk
didn't.
about the
I'm
death
sorry.
whistle where what's his name? Paul Rudd shows how much of an idiot he is.
Yeah, while Paul Rudd is looking through the house, he notices an Aztec death whistle, which is like shaped like a skull. So me and Tony obviously know about that.
Yeah.
And he says that the
Yeah, he
whistle
says
is
it's an
to ward off.
Aztec. He says it's an Aztec death whistle. It's to ward off evil spirits. And then and then he's like, but it makes a really awful. And then the kid blows on it, and I'm like, nah, that's not a. That's, it wasn't to ward off evil spirits. It was to scare motherfuckers into like giving up before you even did it. Because you hear you hear like, you go into a battle with like maybe 200 guys, 100 guys. You hear 100 of those shits going off, you're gonna fucking shit your pants.
Yeah, it's like some douchebag like writer or whatever, like hearing about it once and then throwing it into the movie to like
Yeah, it
either
was
suit
just
his needs,
yeah.
or he just doesn't know enough about it. So Paul Rudd is like the most hateable character in this whole fucking movie because he doesn't know shit about anything. It's like you said, it's an intimidation device. It's not like it's a war. It's not like a fucking dream catcher or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I know they like were sacrificing people on altars because of some sun shit, but they weren't like completely dumb. They,
Yeah,
they did astrology and shit. Anyways, what were you saying?
It's more like practical than anything. Like those like weird like those weird well, not weird, but those like concepts of like scaring off evil with something that looks evil, like gargoyles. Probably a different culture. But well,
That's neither here nor there.
it's neither here nor there. But if I mean, I assume that these the people that wrote this movie are probably obsessed with culture and whatnot, which is why they probably had the Aztec fucking skull in there in the first place.
Yeah.
So
Well, plus it's spooky shit. Like Aztecs they're fucking scary. Like when you dig into the culture and stuff like that, and all the shit that they make and everything, I don't know, man. They were just a fucking creepy culture. Anyways, go ahead.
I mean, yeah. So moving on because we're gonna be stuck on this for like a while.
Yeah, I know. We can talk.
But-
Listen to our new podcast, everybody, where we talk about Aztec history. No, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Don't ask for it. All right, go ahead. Denny.
Yeah. So then so we cut to Finn Wolfhard and he got the job at Spinners. And he's like part of the cleanup crew and like a cook. And fuck, what was her name? I'm gonna call her Zendaya through the movie if I don't find out. What her name
Sarah
is.
O'Connor. I don't know what her name. Lucky, I believe.
Lucky. Okay, so Lucky. She.
Which they don't even establish why she has that nickname. I don't believe.
Yeah. Maybe she was like lucky enough to get
A role in this movie.
night-
All right, so
Yeah, yeah. So she goes to Finn Wolfhard and like sees that he's working hard or something like that, and she like did a full 180 on him and invites him out to.
she's like, this
go-
motherfucker got a job. All right, so
Yeah, he got a job. He light skin, and so she what is it called? So she like invites him to go to the well, I guess, which is the cool hangout spot for the crew at Spinners, with a bunch of their coworkers and stuff. And so they throw him into the back of their hoopty and they drive off. And so while they're hanging out at the well, they're Finn Wolfhard and Lucky are having a talk about like how Finn Wolfhard ended up there, and he's all like, "Oh yeah, we have no money and we're broke and stuff like that. We got evicted from our house and now we're stuck in a podunk town and stuff like that." And she's like, "Well, I've been living here for like 3 generations
yeah,
and shit like that."
I'm
So-
from here, so that's kind of. He's just like, well, why don't you leave? And he's like, because I'm from here.
yeah.
Yeah. He's like,
it's
well,
not
maybe
that
one day. Well, maybe one day you can leave. And it's like he's not getting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Finn Wolfhard is a dumbass that has no game, so that's the issue, probably from his mom, but because she's like kind of awful. Well, I mean, we established that she's awful. So while they're like talking and stuff, a ghost pops out of the
Boo.
well, and so and
Ghost
also
pops out,
makes
boo.
its way, yeah, and also makes its way out of the thing. I assume to the ruins, and so Paul Rudd and so we cut to Paul Rudd and the mom. They're having a dinner date at like a diner or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul Rudd talks again about the fracking thing. He's like explaining how like the how the fracking to make like
Yeah, like he says that Oklahoma never had earthquakes before 2011, and it's like, I don't think that's true at all.
or like he said that there's like been a substantial amount of earthquakes
No,
in
no, he
between
said that
2010.
Oklahoma never had an earthquake before 2011.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's pretty bad. And then he mentioned something about pipelines and oil, like being oil pipelines being made around that time or something like that.
yeah, and
So
then
yeah,
yeah, and then he's like, and then he's like talking about that gay stuff, and then he's like, oh, so I'm sorry, he's like, I'm sorry, are you tired or am I just boring you or whatever? Which first of all is a rude thing to say, and second of all, I wish she was just like, yeah, I voted for Trump. I don't want to hear any of that shit.
what is it like?
That would've
how much is
been-
it in California? Like fucking $5?
Oh yeah, it's like I just paid $6 in gas to get over here, and I filled my tank for
Can't-
like 70.
we can't. What is it called? We can't. What is it? We can't talk about that. Moving on. So so then so after that, like what is it called? I think so I'm sorry, we skipped the whole part. So
I know we
as
did.
they're doing that,
I was looking
as
at my
they're doing
notes.
that- as they're doing that, Phoebe and Podcast are like testing out. I think they found the proton ray or whatever the hell it's called, and they're like shooting cans with it. And
As you would
you
do.
liked Podcast had like a little gadget where he took a picture with some goggles, right?
Yeah, I thought that shit was cool. I liked Gadget actually. I think a Gadget. Whoops, I almost called him fucking. Wait, who's Gadget? Was that from the
He's
Goonies?
That's from the Goonies. I was
Oh,
gonna point that out. I
shit!
wrote that down in my fucking I wrote that down in my notes.
I
too.
subconsciously made that joke. I didn't mean to call him Gadget.
Well, what is it called? So I called him something else later on in the movie. Nothing offensive, but what is it called? I called him another character later on, but
Yeah, but Podcast. Yeah, he was he was good. I liked him. I liked his character.
well, he also like I think he was the most cheerful one, but he took a picture. He took a picture with those goggles, and they have like super zoom in them. And I was like, those are his peeping Tom goggles. That's what those are. And so like so they do that, and they're like, okay, well, let's try the tracker and the capture device. So they walk into like they start looking around, and they walk into a old factory where they find like a fat ass ghost like eating metal, and it looks kind of like Slimer but with more rolls. And so they try like sneaking up behind the ghost and like throwing the capture device underneath it, and Phoebe tries shooting it with the proton gun or whatever, and it all goes bad. He likes the ghost like starts shooting like metal bullets at the kids or whatever, like literally like machine gun shots at the kids, and they try capturing it, and it's just like none of it works, and the ghost is like fuck this, and like explodes out of the
Yeah,
the
it like
window of the
it like
machine
comically
gun.
blows out through the window.
Yeah, and it's kind of squirming and stuff, and is like really fat and like wriggly, and so like Podcast and Phoebe are like, well we fucked that up, and they start walking, and as they're walking, like Finn Wolfhard like I think he's taking the
The Ecto one, he
taking-
fixed it up and he's like driving it around through the cornfields and shit.
yeah, he's like doing like doing donuts in the cornfields and stuff like that while playing like punk music. So as he's doing that, after that little montage of him doing that, he like drives up a road, and then he sees Podcast and Phoebe. He's like, "What are you guys doing?" And they're like, "We're chasing like a ghost or something like that." And he's like, "Well, get on. We're gonna go catch that ghost or some shit." And so they like drive into town, and they see the ghost or whatever, like eating a fire hydrant. And so I don't know when they did this, but they like fixed up some of the gadgets a little bit, and so like they go chase the ghost and try to like capture it. Like a big chase scene ensues. And what is it called? what is it called? They put the capture device on a remote controlled car,
Yeah.
and they're chasing the ghost with it. Like uh, Finn Wolfhard is driving the car, and they're like drifting and shit like that to catch the ghost. And Phoebe, they find out that like the car has like a little shooter seat that comes out of the side of the car, and like Phoebe uses it to try to shoot the ghost with the proton gun. Um, I called him Short Round from Indiana Jones. He tries to like drive the car underneath the ghost to get it in the right position. They go through the town as Paul Rudd and the mom are having dinner. They see the kids like driving by or whatever, and they're like, "Oh fuck." Um, and the kids like create like a bunch of like destruction in the town, and eventually they end up in a at a bridge where they finally are able to capture the ghost. Um, and so they get the ghost, and then they're like, "All right, fuck yeah, we did it." And so they're like driving home, and then they get pulled over by the fuzz. The police like pulls them over. Um, and so after catching the Ethan Ralph what is it called, ghost? They
Yes.
yeah, so they what is it called? They get pulled over by the police, and the police are like, where's your license registration? And the Finn Wolfhard is like, fuck. And then they all get thrown in jail. As they're like minors, like they throw them into like they take them to the police station and like put them in like a barred jail and stuff like that. And so they're like sitting there like being like, God damn, we're screwed. Finn Wolfhard looks over, and then he sees Lucky. She's in jail
Mm-hmm.
too, in the cell next to them. And then he's all like, "Oh man, what you do?" And she's like, "Fucking nothing. My dad's the fucking sheriff and shit." And so the dad of
No, she
of
says that
Lucky is-
I got something that you can hold because you can. What do you call it?
Oh yeah.
And he should have been like, you could hold his dick. All right. So what happened?
She's like, "I want to."
Yeah, she really did.
So
All right,
then
so what happened?
she was thirsty for that what is it called, for that dork. So the she's like, "Yeah, my dad's a police chief and stuff, so I'm not here for anything." And then like the police chief is played by the guy from The Big Hit. I forget what his name is.
I don't remember his name either, but you'll remember him from a lot of movies if you ever see him.
Yeah, and so she's and so he's the Paul Rudd and the mom walk in to get the kids. And the police chief says, "Yeah, we're going to confiscate all your stuff. So you guys can't do this anymore." And then so like Phoebe gets mad and like pulls out the fucking the proton gun and pulls it on him, which at that point I think like mom should have smacked her in the back of the head and told her not to do that. Like, don't pull a weapon out on a cop. And so like the cop lets it go, and they all head home.
Nicest cop ever, because that little girl just pointed a gun at him.
Yeah, exactly. So and with a bunch of other cops, so she would got lit up, and so what's it called? So they're like taking her. So the mom takes Phoebe home and stuff like that, and then like Phoebe's like super butthurt or whatever, and she tells the mom like, why didn't you tell me my grandpa was Egon from fucking Ghostbusters? And she's like,
From the
well,
movie
you know,
Ghostbusters, and she's like, what?
Yeah.
What movie?
She was like, she's like, I don't know what you're talking about, but my dad, what's it called, didn't give a shit about me and like was neglectful and stuff like that. So I guess we have that in common. So she takes a moment to take a dig at the absentee father. That's
No,
not
she does
around.
the whole movie. She like takes digs at him all the fucking time.
Oh, I see. Well, I mean, he's not in the picture. Who knows why? So that awesome like parenting thing. Telling your fucking kid that no one gives a shit about her, and nobody ever will, and that's just the way life goes. Is like is great. We cut to Paul Rudd, who's like going to Walmart and like buying some ice cream, where he hears a scream in the next aisle over. I don't know if that was like a joke. Like, I'm going to get ice cream. I hear a scream. You scream. I scream. You scream. Um, and so he's like walking. He's like, all right, whatever. And then he goes to like the marshmallow section, and he goes to grab a bag, and then like a mini version of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man comes out, and this is where you clap.
Yeah, you say, "Oh
Um,
no, I remember that."
yeah, and then Paul Rudd looks at the Marshmallow Man and smashes it, like takes it home to torture it, like
Yeah,
stab it with
that's
little needles and stuff like that. Or at least I would have. I'd be like, "Ugh, I'm God now. I'm doing the torturing." So what is it called? See how you like it. So then so then so then like the state, which he didn't actually have to do. He's like, well, that's weird. And then he sees like more Stay Puft Marshmallow Men come out of the bag, and so they're all having fun and stuff like that. And he's like, well, that's weird. And like he moves on to like another aisle, um, to like where the electronics are, and he sees blenders and shit like that. And he sees that the Stay Puft Marshmallow Men are like fucking torturing each other and shit. It's like that scene from Berserk where what is it called? Where the little like kids with the like insect motherfuckers are like torturing each other. And so like and so and so he's like, "Oh, I need to get out of here." And so he goes to the section with like I guess he's like walking out, he sees like a section with dog food. And like one of the fucking like dog monsters from the Ghostbusters I think Ghostbusters 2 is like eating a bag of dog food, and he's like, "Oh shit." And the Ghostbusters dog, the dogs from Ghostbusters 2, like the demon dogs or whatever, it looks exactly like Ghostbusters 2. So it looks like the not so great practical effects that they had there. They like spent all this money on CGI to just like recreate practical effects. And so he's like, "Well, I'm definitely gonna get the fuck out of here." And so he runs away. A chase scene ensues where like the dog is like chasing Paul Rudd, and I was hoping that he would kill him and like rip him apart.
Goddamn.
So so like Paul Rudd tries to get to his car, but it's like too late, and the dog like jumps on the top of the car. Um, the window is like blown out from like the other ghost that they released at the bus parking lot, and so like the ghost demon dog is like about to like attack Paul Rudd, and it cuts to black. And so
Seriously thought it killed. I seriously thought it killed him. It was kind of weird.
oh really? I
Yeah.
wish it did.
Well, yeah,
And
would
so
have made the movie better.
and so like I think the next day like what is it called? Phoebe podcast and Finn Wolfhard are at a diner, and they're all talking about like what's been going on with the ghost stuff and all the phenomena that they know. And I assume that the Phoebe and podcast know a little bit about what's going on because they had read the book about Gozer. And so Finn Wolfhard and Lucky, who's also there, tell them about what happened at the well where the ghost came out.
Yeah.
And so they were like, "Well, we gotta go check out that well." And so they all like what is it called? They all head down to the well.
Oh no, Danny, you
And-
forgot to talk about when they were in the prison. No, and I don't mean when they were in the prison. Like there was little things here and there, like
What's
like
that?
you wanted the kids to be like, "Oh shit, it's the fuzz."
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah. What is it?
And
called?
also
I
she gets one call. She gets one phone call, and who does she call?
Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot.
I
about
can't
that. Yeah,
believe I know.
So
And then you said the
so
best joke
let's-
ever.
yeah, let's take a step back. Let's do a flashback to the prison. Phoebe like asks for her one phone call that all prisoners get, and she's like a little kid, so I guess they like fucking they're like, all right, I guess I don't know if you have rights yet, but let me so she calls somebody, and she calls up fucking one of the original Ghostbusters, and I was all like, I didn't know Dan Aykroyd was in this picture, which is this was Space Jam. It
Yeah.
would have been funnier if actually what's his face
Hey, Bill
Mr.
Murray.
Depressed- Bill Murray, yeah.
Which Bill Murray did come out, and we did come out later, and we didn't make the joke. I'm sad.
Well, Dan Aykroyd was actually right next to him, so it wouldn't have made sense.
Okay,
Um,
right.
So then she calls up like Dan Aykroyd, and Dan Aykroyd gives her the rundown on what happened to Egon, and that how he disappeared from like the group after a while, because he didn't care about like catching little ghosts here and there. Um, he kind of like found he thought it was like busy work because something bigger was gonna happen, and he had mentioned that the world was gonna end. So he disappeared for like a decade, at least from the time of this movie, and they never heard from him again. Except that they did know that he was in the town of Somerville. Um, and so like Phoebe is like, "Oh, okay, thanks. Good luck on the vodka that you're making." And he's like, "Thank you very much, little girl." And so that was the end of the scene before the mom showed up. Now going back to the well, all the kids are go to the well, and they go down it like on a, I think it's like a mining well or whatever you would call that. And so they go down in like the little cage that the miners use to get down, like an elevator. And I was like, this looks exactly like the Goonies. Like this whole like section looks exactly like this with all the kids and stuff like that. And like, what's his name? What was his name? Computer, the kid with the gadgets. No, Gadget, all going down there.
I don't know if his name was Gadget. Was it Gadget? It doesn't matter. Who
something like-
cares?
Yeah. That movie sucks anyway.
What? Damn it! All right.
What is it called? They hear in the background, "Hey, you guys are gay," and so
Damn it. Should have laughed at that. I hate you.
so then they're like, they get to the bottom of the like the mining shaft. That's what it's called. And they see that there's like a big cavern, and it's well lit for some reason. And they're walking around, and as they're walking towards the cavern, they see an entrance to like an even like a like some kind of cave or something like that, or like it's like a ruin, and there's a big Gozer statue there. And so I think Phoebe tells the other guys that they're all like, "Oh, there's a statue of Gozer there." It's like, is it a girl or a boy or something like that? And it's like Gozer doesn't have a gender. And then like Lucky says like, how progressive or something for the 1800s or something like that.
Yeah. Even though really like
1800s.
no like. Anyways, I don't even want to. We're gonna get it. We get into all these little like when they do their stupid little comments. They bait us into these stupid things where it's like that's stupid and you're stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
but who cares?
think-
Anyways, you find out later that the little girl's a fucking liar anyway, so it doesn't matter.
So they walk past the Gozer statue, and inside the entrance to the little room or whatever that they're that the statue is in front of, they see a guy named they see like a dude laying there, and he's perfectly preserved in like a casket with glass around it, and on a little plaque on the casket it says the name Igor Shandor. And so Igor Shandor, I immediately recognized him as the actor that plays J. Jonah Jameson in Spider-Man. So he's in everything, and they're like, "Oh yeah, his body's well preserved. He's been in there for like 70 years." And so they walk further and they start exploring even more, and they see on the roof that there's numbers, and the numbers match the exact numbers that
Oh, can I say?
that were-
Wait, there's another thing I missed. There's another thing I missed. Sorry about in the police station. They bail the kids out, and then for some reason, Paul Rudd, because he hasn't met what's his name yet. He hasn't met what's his name, Finn Wolfhard, whatever his name is. Finn and Jake. He hasn't met him yet, so he introduces himself. But he says, I'm pretty sure he says, "Hey, I'm Gary," but he says it so fast that it sounds like he's saying, "Hey, I'm gay." So all I was just like, wait, what? I'm pretty sure you're not. You're
mean-
banging my mom.
Yeah, they also make fun of her for dating him too. At least Phoebe does. And then like and I'm like thinking to myself, you already hang out with that fucking loser. Like, what do you start hanging out with him before your mom did? But So who's the real loser? Little girl. Um,
Small
and so,
child.
Small child who doesn't know anything about the world and should act like it. Um, so then they start exploring the cave, and they see the numbers on like near the like written on a part of the roof that where the numbers match the exact numbers that were written on the molding of the ceiling in the house that I mentioned earlier. And so the numbers are a calendar that ends with 2021. Um, so it's like a calendar. I guess it's supposed to be like an Aztec calendar. That's probably why they put the Aztec. What is it called? No, it's not an Aztec calendar because they said that Gozer was part of a different civilization, right, Tony?
Yeah. Sumerian. He's an ancient Sumerian demon, which is kind of a trope at this point.
Yeah, so well, I think she was a Sumerian demon in the other ones too, but so yeah, she's an ancient Sumerian demon, so that calendar must have been like a Sumerian calendar, not an Aztec one.
Right.
But so then it ends at 2021. I wrote down I'm surprised it didn't end at 2016 knowing this movie. So then what is it called?
They do say something about that later.
Oh, okay. Remind me to remind you about
Yeah.
that. So they noticed that and they're like, "Oh, okay, so that must be the end of the world thing." So they walk in a little bit more, and in the middle of the room with all this stuff in it, the casket and the numbers, they see there's a big pit. They look. Phoebe goes to look inside the pit, and there's a bunch of fucking like hell spawn demon ghosts like trying to get out of it. Or at least it like bubbles up to where they're trying to like explode out the pit, and so the room lights up because and reveals that there's a bunch of those plasma rays, like giant versions of it, that automatically when the ghosts come up to get out of the pit, shoot the plasma rays back into the pit to shoot to get the ghosts to fuck off. And so they're like, oh wow, this must have been what Egon was talking about. And so from there, it cuts to Phoebe's mom, who is, I guess, goaded by one of the evil ghosts to find the locator thing. And so she grabs the locator, and the locator leads her to the underground lab, Egon's underground lab. And so she looks at all the she looks around and she sees like various pictures she sees all the equipment and stuff like that and all the scientific shit.
Mm-hmm.
And she keeps looking around and she sees on the walls that there's pictures of her growing up. And so she's all like, "Aw, so maybe he did think about me." And then that's when she turns around and there's one of the fucking
Oh, I think we
dog
totally
monsters.
missed the tacky name thing.
What was the tacky name thing?
Remember where they're inside the restaurant and they're like, "Oh yeah, this guy put his name on everything," and then he's like, "How tacky."
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And I'm
yeah.
like, "Oh my god, just we won, guys. We won already. Just let it go."
Yeah, we won from that, that guy who won't be named or anything like that. The worst guy in the world because I don't know. So then what is it called? I can't think of anything right now, but I'm sure it's bad and he's a bad person. And so they what is it called? The mom gets possessed by one of the demon dogs that's just quietly hanging out in the pit. I mean, not the pit, in the lab.
No, yeah.
Or she gets attacked. Excuse me. She gets attacked by him.
Daddy, why'd you almost die?
Sorry.
No, well, as long as you're okay. So, Paul Rudd gets possessed.
I got attacked by a demon dog.
Oh, that's nice.
And I was all like, I'm gonna vote Republican. And so, what is it called?
Oh man.
So then, I think after that, the kids are like, well, we gotta do something about this shit because something tells me that that giant pit is no good. And maybe the ecto shooters are gonna run out or something, or we gotta stop something. Um, so the kids go back to the house and they find the jumpsuits from the first Ghostbusters, or the original Ghostbusters, or I'm sorry, they find Egon's spare jumpsuits, and they all start jumping into them. I don't know how the fuck they fit, because some of those kids are like half the size of like
Yeah,
half the size of
the
Egon.
little kids, that didn't make any sense.
Yeah, exactly. Like they all just like he has like little kid jumpsuits and shit. Um, so uh, so as they're doing that, for some reason the Lucky like gets in her underwear, like does it, and then like Finn Wolfhard,
Yeah, like her
like,
bra is out. You can see the top of the breast. You know what I mean?
it's like totally a perv shot of like this person who's supposed to like maybe still be in high school. Um, I'm sure the actress is older than like 18, but still.
Yeah, she's
just kinda
23. She's 23, but you know, she's 23, but she's supposed to be like 15, 16. You know what I mean?
Who's this movie made for? Is this movie made for? It feels like a movie that's made for kids, right?
Yeah, and then they're just showing off like this chick all sexually and shit. It's kind of
Yeah,
weird.
well,
I thought it was for kids because do they swear that much in this? I didn't hear that many swears. And then it's got little kid protagonists, and the blue ghost was kind of goofy. It was like chubby and goofy looking. It didn't look menacing at all.
Yeah, I don't know who this, because I would assume that it was made for teenagers too, because like it's supposed to be Finn Wolfhard's point of view, and he's supposed to be like really attracted to Lucky, but we
Yeah,
already
to that
know that.
fucking stick.
Yeah, I mean we already
Because
we already know that
even when I found out she was 23, I was still like, I don't know about that.
she
gangly.
can pass for like somebody in like high school.
Yeah, which is why she got the role in the movie. But the fact that they made her like get half naked for the movie or whatever is kind of like, I don't know why it's
Totally
other people.
unnecessary.
Other people should get offended by that.
Yeah, it's totally unnecessary. We know he finds her physically attractive. She doesn't need to be in her underwear at all.
Yeah.
So like after that, so after that they get into their jumpsuits, and then they're all like, well, we got to get the rest of our shit back. And so cut to Paul Rudd is in a desert, and so is the mom, but she's like dressed in like a golden dress for some reason. And Paul Rudd is like still dressed in his like torn up rags from when he got like attacked by the ghost monster, and they're both possessed. And they like walk towards each other in the middle of the desert, and like I don't know if they make out or something like that. I don't remember. But it's clear that the two dogs are like reuniting. And then they start speaking ghost gibberish to each other. I assume about their plans and what they're gonna do next. Cut back to the kids, and they're at the police station, trying to get their shit back, and they like find, I think Finn like gets the car back or something, or is working on that, and Podcast and Phoebe
Go to
are,
get
like,
the what do you call it? The proton
Capture.
pack and then the capture device. You know what I mean? And then they're
Yeah,
looking around,
exactly.
and she drops a bunch of guns on the floor, and Podcast like, what did you find anything? He's like, no, just a bunch of stupid guns. And she says it with like a bunch of disdain and shit. It's like, shut up, stupid.
Yeah, these couldn't help us with ghosts or anything.
Yeah,
like
kids
that.
don't think guns are cool at all, ever.
Yeah, they only make like water guns and like rubber band guns, and like every boy with like a stick that's at an angle uses it as a gun. So
There was this one I saw this. Okay, here's an anecdotal story about guns. There was I was at the store the other day, and there was this lady talking about, her kid was talking about I forgot, somebody was talking about guns or something, and then there's like a little boy, and he was just like, oh yeah, I wish I had a gun. Guns are cool. And then the mom's like, ugh, what did I tell you? And he's like, never mind, guns are bad. No one should ever have them. Like while looking at the floor, and I was like, that is the most disgusting thing I've ever. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, and then she like drop kicked him.
You know who
Um,
you know who you are.
if you're listening to this, don't. So then, what is it called? So then, or do listen to it. Give us the views, please. We love everybody. So, what is it called?
I agreed with the
so
child.
Then,
All right, go ahead.
so then, so he's a smart boy. So then they fucking they see that their shit is inside like another is like locked up behind some bars or whatever. And then they're all like, "Oh crap! Well, can you pick the lock or whatever?" And she's like, "It's a magnetic lock. My lock picking is completely useless. It's almost as if it didn't need to be in the movie, just to show that I was like good at everything." Um, and so they're like, "Okay, well, what do we do?" And then they see like the capture machine is still there, and they're like, I forget how they do this, but they knock the capture machine open, and then the fat ghost comes out and eats the bars.
Oh yeah, and then and I was like, what? I was like, it's a fucking ghost. Why would it eat through the bars? It could just slip through them, and you were like, he's a fat ass. And it just made me die laughing.
Yeah,
Because it's like such a simple answer, but it's the right one.
it's fat. He likes to eat. Like, what do
Yeah.
you want? That's his thing. Fat from metal. So as various metalheads are very fat.
Yeah, he
so
has
then,
a lot of iron in his diet though, so that's good.
Makes him feel like a lion. So then what is it called? So then they get their shit back after the ghost like eats all that stuff. So then the possessed mom and Paul Rudd after they meet in the desert, which I guess they were near the ruins. They go into the ruins and start their ritual to and like a bunch of like purple light and shit happens, and then they're like summoning Gozer. And so the both like turn back into dog monsters and with the shitty practical effects and whatnot. And and so their ritual is done. They release Gozer, who's played by Emily Wilde. Is that her name?
Olivia Wilde.
Olivia Wilde, yeah, who's played by Olivia Wilde and totally looks like a woman from the '80s, but a woman nonetheless.
Yeah, and I was like, and that was at that point that I was like, hey, fucking Phoebe's a liar. She said it didn't. It wasn't a man or a woman, but I see this thing has boobies and a vagina, and she's over here fucking lying to me.
And she's got a buterus.
Yeah.
And all that stuff.
She's got bobs and vagine.
Send them to me, BB. So then like Igor Sandor, whatever his name is, also gets revived. After the ritual is done. And he goes up to Gozer and is like, "I love you, Gozer. Have those pictures on my desk by tomorrow." And she's all like, "All right." And then she slices him in half and he dies. And so the kids show up at the ruins and they're like, "Oh crap, shit's popping off." And so they Gozer's like lounging on her chair, and Phoebe like runs in front of Gozer and starts telling like really shitty jokes about like I don't know, geometry or something. And so to distract Gozer while Podcast like uses his car, his remote control car to like drive underneath Gozer and like get the capture machine ready. And so I think they trick Gozer and they shoot her with the proton thing, and she gets captured for a bit. But she's not completely captured. I guess her essence is still floating around. Even though her like physical form is captured in the capture device. I don't know how that works, but they also capture the dog possession, the dog demon inside the capture device as well. And somehow that releases the mom from the dog's possession. And so they grab the mom and get the fuck out of there. But Paul Rudd's still a demon possession dog and is chasing the the Ecto 1 as they're trying to drive away. Um, and so the mom like comes back to her senses, like, what the fuck is going on? Phoebe gives her the rundown on what's going on, and like, she's like, oh yeah, I remember like, I seeing the lab underneath the ground or whatever, and like seeing all the pictures of me and shit like that. So I guess your grandpa really did care, and I was just being retarded. And then Phoebe's all like, I don't give a shit, and like gets out into the like shooting gun, the shooting chair outside of the Ecto 1, and shoots like the what is it called? Shoots
The dog.
Paul, the dog, yeah, the Paul Rudd dog, a demon possession dog. And then the mom's all like, Phoebe, you did that. That means you're and then she's like, I'm a scientist. I do scientist shit.
Like shoot dogs with fucking laser
I-
beams,
Yeah, and
which is probably what scientists do.
yeah, exactly.
They
And,
put
they're
their they put their heads, they put dogs' heads inside of like capture things to fucking sting them to death.
Well, they all think that, what is it called? They all I'm sure the person that wrote this fucking thinks that scientists be lying and get me pissed. So then what is it called? What is it called? Nowadays I think that's true. But so then they get the fuck out of there. They like start heading back to the house. They get there and they basically set a trap up for Gozer, because Gozer they get to the house, they run inside. And Wolfheart and Podcast are inside the Ecto 1, far off from the house, and Phoebe and her mom are like at the porch of the house, ready to like set their trap, just like Egon at the beginning of the movie. Gozer fucking shows up with the demon dog, and she's in like a weird astral projection form. And so they're all like, all right, let's get the shit going. And so they start setting off the traps, and the traps are like these giant windmill type things where they start shooting laser beams at Gozer and shit. And Phoebe shoots her like a plasma ray at Gozer, and Gozer's like getting messed up, and it's time for Finn to shoot his plasma ray at her to like complete the process and throw her into the throw the rest of her into the capture device. And I think they throw the capture device under her too. And so like when Finn goes to like shoot his plasma ray, it's not working. And then he's like, what the fuck? And so like Podcast looks over, and the fucking Stay Puft Marshmallow Men have like been fucking with the plasma
they're
ray.
like little gremlins.
Do we mention that? Can't believe we forgot this, but the Podcast is like, I'm gonna fix this, and that's when I realized like how the fuck's he gonna fix it? I guess he makes gadgets and shit like that, but like fucking like a little kid, and he's able to do all this shit.
Yeah.
We forgot to mention when Phoebe is led to the lab at the very other end of the movie. She's led by Egon's ghost. And so Egon's.
Oh my god, we forgot the Egon scene from when she was fixing the proton pack.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Jesus.
Egon, at the very beginning of the movie, I don't think it's that big of a flub, but like let's.
It is, because it was one of the stupidest scenes, and we could have made fun of it earlier.
That's true. So Phoebe like fixes the proton pack with the guidance of the Egon's ghost. He's like moving shit for Phoebe and like telling her the plans and stuff like that. Which is fucking lame. Like his ghost comes back to help her, and like he's able to move shit for her and stuff like that. Why didn't he just do it on his own? And so like they're like so then like while Gozer's getting shot by Phoebe's ray, there's like a bunch of other like I guess like landmine kind of like energy shots that are supposed to go off too. And they're like completely covering the floor around Gozer, but those things mess up also. And so Gozer's all like, well, this isn't powerful enough to stop me, and like grabs the fucking the capture device underneath her and like tears it open, breaks free from the plasma ray, I forgot to mention also that Gozer can grab the plasma ray, like it's a whip or something like that, and mess it up. And so like Gozer does that, flings it back at Phoebe, and then Phoebe like stops shooting the plasma ray thing, and then Gozer rips open the capture device, releasing her form before, and also releasing the demon dog, which flies off. And so she's back to her like normal like human form, her like what is it called, tangible form. And so the kids are all like, oh, okay, well we're fucked now. And so Gozer like goes in to like fucking attack people, and like a bunch of like a giant miasma of Gozer's power and
it's about power.
what is
It's
it called?
about
It's about drive. It's about power.
there you go.
No,
Her drive and power come out. All right, what about?
what is it called? Gozer summons a miasma of fucking other ghosts and shit like that. And so, and uses her power to like fucking project it directly into that section of the fucking farm. And so like they're like thinking to themselves, well, this is the end. We're screwed. But then out of nowhere shows up the fucking original Ghostbusters. What's his face? Dan Aykroyd, who's in this picture. What's his face? Ernie Hudson and miserable bastard Bill Murray. And then they're all like, "We're here to for motherfuckers to open up their mouths and with their neck beards and stuff like that, and they'll flip out and clap."
No, when I first saw them, I was like, "Who the fuck are those assholes?
Yeah,
Who are these grandpas?"
we were like, "Who the fuck is that?"
Then we
So,
Googled it and we're like, "Oh, that's the original cast from the Ghostbusters." No,
I still don't give a shit.
No, we know who
so
they
yeah,
were,
show
people.
up.
God damn it.
So the Ghostbusters show up to stink up the place with, cause they're old and gay, and what is it called? They're all like, "All right, Gozer, we're here to stop you," and like Bill Murray says some funny quips or something like that, and so they cross their streams together and try to attack Gozer, and then Gozer like grabs the streams and fucking uncrosses them, and then they're all like, "Okay, well she uncrossed the stream, so well fuck." So like she like uncrosses the streams, and then they get like thrown back by the power of the proton things like being uncrossed. And so like Bill Murray tries to like say some mildly entertaining shtick about like Gozer and him not being able to like be in a relationship together because she's always killing people.
Yeah, it was pretty funny actually.
Yeah,
And then
so,
Ernie
like-
Hudson tries to shoot him with a pistol, like a little pistol proton pack thing, and she like knocks it away. And then Bill Murray's like, "It was worth a try." And I was like, "Oh, that's actually funny." I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. Ghostbusters was a comedy movie. I forgot about that."
Oh yeah, it kind of takes a little bit of a different tone when he starts doing that, right?
Yeah, it feels like the original where it's a fucking comedy movie. It wasn't like dark and gritty like this bullshit. Or dark and gritty kids movie, which I don't know what the fuck they were trying to do. I don't know what they were trying to do with the tone of this.
Little break from the action, I think.
Yeah.
Not very good in my opinion, but still better than this. But that's saying something when it can like kind of uplift the movie a little bit, at least for like a couple of minutes. So then what is it called? So then fucking Bill Murray says we're fucked, and but that's when fucking Short Round he fixes the what is it called? Harold from Harold and Kumar, he fixes the proton pack, and what is it called? They and Finn Wolfhard's like, all right, and then he starts shooting Gozer with it, and then everything starts working for some reason after that. The like little bombs around Gozer go off, the other things go on, and then and so like I think what's her face? I forgot to mention that Lucky gets possessed by the other dog demon.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention that she did that. and so that's when they were like completely screwed. But then everything starts working. And then like Phoebe like shoots her proton thing, but it's not like strong enough to like completely defeat Gozer, and so that's when the spirit, the Force ghost of Egon, shows up, and, like helps Phoebe with her proton pack, and they do like a father-son Kamehameha wave
Yeah.
towards Gozer.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Just what is it called? All they needed was what is it called? They needed Goten to be there too, so they can do it against Broly. And so he like gives her the power. He lends her energy and shoots Gozer, and then Gozer gets like vanquished to, I think, back to the Shadow Realm, and so they're all safe now. The what is it called? The Force Ghost like hangs around for a little bit, and everybody says he like hangs around the original Ghostbusters, and then like Dan Aykroyd, what does he say? He's like, I should have listened to you. All those years ago, and then Ernie Hudson's all like, "It's good to see you, Egon," or something like that, and then Bill Murray doesn't say anything.
Yeah. Bill Murray's too. Bill Murray was smart. Was I don't want to say he was too good, but he was respectful enough that he's like, I'm not gonna talk to fucking dead guy, dude.
Not only that, but I think they disliked each other in like
In real life.
while he was in real
Oh,
life.
really?
So,
Okay. Oh, in real life. I mean, when he was alive.
yeah, the best thing to say when you like have an enemy is nothing.
Yeah.
So especially when you're like trying to, because anything you say that's positive can be taken as sarcasm.
Especially with Bill Murray, he sounds sarcastic like 90% of the time.
Especially with Bill Murray, and anything negative you say is just petty. So the best thing to say is nothing.
Yeah.
So after that, like Gozer, not Gozer, Egon, Egon, I think, says goodbye to everybody, and he
He doesn't say anything because they didn't want to hire a sound alike.
Oh, but does he just disappear after that?
Yeah, he does. He like nods and then he disappears.
Yeah, he disappears into the ether or whatever, and then
He goes back to hell. He
no,
in the movie.
He goes to
In
what
real
is it
life, he's
called?
in heaven. Even
he goes
though
back to his-
wait, never mind.
Goes yeah, he goes back to his home planet, and then what is it called? He floats off, and so the movie, like, I guess, like, I forget what happens. I don't know if they give like each other a hug or something. The whole family gives each other a hug. And Harold Ramis disappears, and the movie fades out. Do the Ghostbusters say like, "We're back in business, boys"? And they show like they show the like Ecto 1. They cut to like the Ecto 1 driving up the.
Oh, Ernie Hudson. There's like this little commercial at the end where it's like Ernie Hudson.
No. Before that, I guess it fades out, and then like it shows like the bridge from New Jersey to New York, and then the Ecto 1 driving up the bridge to go to New York, and the movie like backs up, and it shows like the sky, and it says "For Harold."
Yeah.
And that's the end. And if it the big logo of the Ghostbusters like logo comes up, and then they start playing.
We forgot to say that Dan
Ghostbusters
Aykroyd, for some reason, listens to a child's podcast.
Oh, fuck! I forgot to say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
They talk to the.
And I was gonna make a mean joke, but I thought better of it now.
Okay. Yeah. They say that what is it called? They say to Dan Aykroyd says to podcast, he says to him like, "Oh yeah, I saw it. I listened to your podcast," and then we finally find out what his show is called. It's like I don't know, something lame about like spooky realms or something like that. And he's all like, and the podcast is like, "You're my one subscriber," and he's like, "Yeah, the show really took off like after the 46th episode or whatever." Like before, it just sounded like you're, what is it called? You were sequestering people, and like for unsolicited interviews and stuff like that, like pointing a mic in their face. And so like after that, all that stuff with Harold Ramis happens. They back up, and then the Ghostbusters logo shows up, and they play Ghostbusters at the end. Yeah, and that's the end of the movie. After the credits, there's a post-credit stinger where the secretary from the other movies with in Ghostbusters, like Ghostbusters 2 or whatever, says
Mhm.
says is interviewing Ernie Hudson, and they show them talking about Egon for a bit, and they show clips from the I think the second movie where they have like a little romance going on, and Ernie what's it called, Harold Ramis gives her like a pendant or a coin or something like that, or she gives Ernie Hudson a pendant, and she cut back to now interviewing Ernie Hudson. She has the pendant in her hand, and she's interviewing Ernie Hudson, and Ernie Hudson's like talking about his corporation and how he built himself up from being like a poor bastard when he joined the Ghostbusters, and how he's just looking for a job, and now he's built up this big corporation. And he's keeping like a dude's bookstore in business. I don't know if that was what's his face? The dude from Honey I Shrunk the Kids. Um his bookstore going or whatever. And so it cuts to him like opening the old garage from the first movie and driving in the Ecto 1, and then he walks by like a little switchboard that has two lights on it, and then the switchboard, one of the lights starts flashing red, and to signal that there's the ghost alarm is going off, and that's the very end of the movie, signaling for a sequel or what have you, which probably will never get made. And that's the end of the movie. That's the complete end. Yeah. Tony?
Yeah. No, and it sucked.
Be terrible, yeah.
It was
Forgettable.
definitely sequel bait because they showed the Ecto 1, like they showed the Ecto 1. I mean, not the Ecto 1 pulling in, but then they also show the where they used to contain the ghosts. It's starting to shake and be all shaky and weird.
Oh,
It's
right,
like,
yeah.
oh, okay, well, I mean, guess they got to do number 2 then. Which they won't. I don't think this movie did very well. Did it do good, Denny, in the box office?
Yeah, at the beginning of the podcast, we said it did like it doubled its budget, or it tripled its budget because it made.
Oh, so it did really
190
well. So there's definitely going to be a number 2, everyone.
I mean, if people are willing to watch it, I suppose. Yeah. So,
I mean,
um,
there's not much to say about this. Oh, welcome everyone that came for the non-spoilers.
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. There's not really a lot to say about it. It's just.
Yeah, we kind of
It's just
said it all at the
another-
beginning. It was a soulish cash grab. Nothing really exciting about it.
I don't know where you can go from here because they already brought back most of the old characters. I don't know. None of these movies where they replace the older characters continue after it. At least as we've seen before, Bill and Ted, The Shining,
Mm-hmm.
what's it called? Return of the Jedi. I mean the new Star Wars sequels, because I'm pretty sure. Well, maybe the new Star Wars sequels, because I think number 2 is when Luke dies, and most of the franchises that have been revitalized, and but they haven't like continued afterwards with the new characters. So I doubt that there's gonna be another sequel made. If it might be like another reboot. But I don't think any like Hollywood producers are gonna like take a chance on like a totally original story in that universe.
No, I don't think so. Not at all.
So, and this movie doesn't to me seem like a movie that would have a sequel. But I mean anything's possible, but I doubt it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the movie is just like it's just boring nostalgia trip, like crap that you've seen before. If you're a fan of Ghostbusters, I don't know why you're a fan of Ghostbusters. I don't understand you. Um, but I guess if you're a fan of the Ghostbusters, you probably watched it. I would not recommend it to anybody. I think it's boring. It's good. It's better than the other movie that they made, I assume. Um, I mean, Ghostbusters 2, I'm pretty sure people didn't even like that one.
Mm-hmm.
They would have made a number 3 earlier, unless Bill Murray got
Yeah,
in the way of that.
number 2 definitely was not very good. And there's
definitely.
Ghostbusters fans will say the same thing.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, in hindsight, they I mean, with nostalgia, they probably said it's better than it actually was. But I'm sure the people that watched it when it came out didn't think so. So you could watch it, but it's just a waste of time. I would give this movie a 3 out of 5 because
Mhm.
it's just meh. It's forgettable. It's lame. That's usually what I give to like forgettable lame movies. I've yet to give anything less than that. Well, actually, I think I did, but there's some good action scenes in it. Some parts are nice to look at. Yeah, but just boring and forgettable.
Yeah, it's filmed cinematically, you know what I mean? Like that Marvel cinematic style that they do now. But yeah, it wasn't very good. I don't think anybody will like it except for little kids. But they might not even like it because there's a lot of exposition and stuff, and kids want to see ghosts in action. You know what I mean? Plus, if you're a parent, you're gonna have to like wait for the part where I was gonna say Zendaya, but what's her name has her boobs out, and you're gonna have to fast forward to that, or I don't know if you're
Lucky.
whatever with your kids or whatever. But if you don't want them to see that type of stuff, you're gonna have to fast forward to that. But other than that, I don't know who would like this except for children and man children and adult children. I don't know like who would like this. There's no reason to like it.
Somebody watched it
It's-
maybe just because it had the Ghostbusters name slapped on it.
It's
so-
skirting by on just that, which is sad. Which is sad for it's sad for filmmaking now that they could just do that, where they could just make a movie that would just be a mediocre, like on its own would just be a mediocre movie, but then they slap the logo from an old movie on it and it makes millions.
Yeah.
And gets like a 7 point like that it was like a 7.2 on IMDb. That movie needs to be like a 5 at most.
Really? Yeah. And that's like on par with some of the good movies that we've enjoyed.
Yeah.
Like on this podcast and just like in our personal lives. So I don't know. There's no accounting for taste, I guess. I mean, yeah, I guess release the same movie without the Ghostbusters logo on it and see how good it does. Probably not at all.
Yeah.
Um,
Don't even
so,
say it's a Ghostbusters movie.
yeah,
Just
do
call
you,
it call it something else. But keep the Ghostbusters stuff if you want, but change the name. See what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty much all there is to say about this movie, right?
Yeah, it's a shameless cash grab. The movie was mediocre at best. They're gonna make another one because, like, just people don't learn their lesson. You know what I mean? Because the people that love movies and love film are outnumbered by like mouth breathing like consumerists. You know, consumers.
Right.
Yeah, and you can't stop them. They're always gonna consume or whatever, consume,
Right.
consume or whatever the meme is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't stop
Yeah.
them. You can't stop them.
Yeah, and well, I mean, there's a good balance between.
Go to indie, everyone. Go to indie movies. You know
Well,
what I
hold
mean?
on a
Try to
sec.
find an indie
Hold on a sec.
theater or watch B movies because Hollywood's not gonna give you. I mean, well, it's everything's Hollywood, but you're not gonna get you're not gonna get anything from big budget movies anymore.
Let's not be too hasty because I think there's a good balance between like doing some like artistic stuff, or at least like writing a decent story that's like well thought out and like the characters are explored really well, while also balancing out like action and keeping the audience like entertained with like just normal things because like action movies like Terminator and stuff like that, those are good. Those are good. um they're not artsy at all, but they're like they have some story elements in there that are that I'm everybody likes. So they don't need to go full. I don't think that they need to go like full art house stuff because some of that stuff is just awful. To me, is awful. Um, so there's a good balance in between there. You just need to find it. But like, redoing like the same fucking properties and shit like that over and over.
Well, they
and
need
over
to
again.
find out to do it. They're not going to. They don't care because they make money off of this. The last good movie that I've seen that balanced, that had good characters, that stayed in its lane and was very well written, and just everything about it was perfect, was Parasite. You know, and that was 3 years ago already. Yeah, 3
Well, I also
years.
like
Every
Joker,
once
baby.
in a huh?
I also like the Joker. Baby.
The Joker
That's,
was
like, a
good. The
long-
Joker was good.
Yeah.
Once in a while you'll get a good movie that is very that's a perfect movie in a way that I don't mean like it's the perfect movie. It's a perfect movie. You know what I mean? Like they did everything correct. Everything was correct and it's really enjoyable. Every once in a while you get it, but you're not gonna get it like you used to. You know what I mean? Like
I
just
think
look at
so.
the Oscar nominations from like the 1970s till now. It's like ridiculous. It's you'll see so much difference in what's nominated and what's good. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
that's
Well,
that's whatever.
Yeah, I guess to end the podcast or whatever, what is it called? Remind me not to eat fruit. Sleep with my mouth open. That's a reference to the cartoon show. I saw the cartoon show when I was young, and the only episode I saw, like the Hispanic dude said not to sleep with his mouth open because spiders were in there, would crawl in there, and then there was like some kind of weird like infestation in like oranges from most countries.